Hello and welcome to Curzon Living Room, a season of live Q&A events on Curzon Home Cinema. My name is Beth Webb. I am a film broadcaster and the contributing editor of Empire magazine. Today I'm in conversation about Spring Blossom with director Suzanne Lindon. Hi, Suzanne.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. It's a real pleasure. Thank you.
Fantastic. Now, if you're watching us live, we're taking your questions via YouTube and Twitter. Our handle is Curzon Cinemas. Please use the hashtag Spring Blossom if you're submitting your questions, and we'll try and read as many of them as we can over the next half an hour. Now, I'd love to ask you a little bit about the writing of this film. So you wrote the script when you were 15. How would you describe your life at the time of writing your screenplay?
Well, actually, I think I was a very happy young teenager, but I was also very dreamy and sometimes shy, even though my friends didn't think the same. I think I was, I had my world and my universe. And I know that at that age, I really understood that I wanted to become an actress. But because I'm from an actor's family and stuff, I think I just didn't dare to tell this, and I didn't feel very legitimate to think about this. So I needed to find a way to feel free and comfortable with this idea. And very naturally, actually, I started to write the movie, and I started to write me a role that I could play. And it was as if I were writing a sort of diary, but someone else's diary. And it was very great for me because it was also a sort of introspection and a way of discovering myself, because I understood that I needed to talk about this precise age and why adolescence was so important and inspiring to me. So I think I understood how important everything just became for me, and everything just mixed it up and it became the movie. So
amazing. And how long did it take you to write the script?
I remember exactly when I started to write it. I think it was in June, just after my exam, because it was just the summer before starting high school. And I think I wrote the movie for the entire summer, but I really wrote it in 3 weeks. And then I worked on it and changed things and everything. But the story just, the entire story came to me in like 3 weeks.
Amazing. That's incredible. And when you were writing it, I mean, you've touched on it slightly, but did you realize anything about yourself when you were writing this piece of work?
Yeah, actually, it was very weird because I've never seen myself at work before doing that, because I was very young, and the only way that I could see me at work was when I was in high school. So I discovered that I had my way of doing things, and I was very precise on that. For example, I didn't write like dialogues and stuff, and the script didn't look like a script. It was more like a short story or a novel, because everything was very described, and all the dialogues were, indirectly written. And it was a way for me to really see what I wanted to film before, being on set. I think it was the way I found to really know what I needed to talk about and what way I was choosing to do it. So I discovered that I had the ability to, build my way of working, and I think it was a huge discovery for me. And also, um, well, it might sound silly, but I've always wanted to act, and I discovered that I was capable of doing it, because it was the first time. I've never taken theater lessons or anything. It was the very first time for everything, in writing, directing, and acting. And I think that I discovered that I was very happy when I was doing all of them separately or um, mixed. But yeah.
Yeah. And there aren't many people who would write their first screenplay at 15. There's no one really for you to, or perhaps I'm not thinking of anyone immediately, who you could look to who's done something similar. I mean, it feels like you were kind of out on your own doing this. Like, how did that feel to you?
Oh, sorry, what did you say?
Just because there aren't very many people who write their screenplay at 15, so there's very few people you can look to who have had a similar experience. And I wondered what that experience was like for you, going into these almost like uncharted waters.
Well, actually, I think it was very weird because I was very young and because I wrote it when I was very young. And because I felt a little lonely at that time, the fact that I was writing the film made me feel even more lonely. I don't know if you understand that, but because it was my secret, and it was something else that I didn't share with my friends or anything. And I've always been inspired by filmmakers and also writers and by theater plays or stuff like that. But I realized very soon that people I was very inspired by were actually old people. I don't know why, but I had the feeling to be like an old soul in my little body. and, and this is why I started to think about this age difference and to know that sometimes you can just feel similar things. And of course, when you're a teenager, the feeling that you want to explore and you want to discover is falling in love, because it's all very new, and it makes you feel alive and free. And I really wanted to fall in love, and I think that this movie was something for me that helped me to realize my fantasies and to describe like the man of my dreams. And sometimes I have the feeling that my first love story was my movie, because I was so young that it was the first real strong and powerful feeling that I had. And I remember that I felt even more lonely because of the fact that I was writing my script than before, when I didn't think about making a movie, because this was something so rare and so weird for the people my age that I had the feeling that it was my weirdness, like a part of me that no one could understand at that time. So yeah.
And is that why you didn't want to share it with other people? Like, I'm interested as to why you wanted to keep it a secret and you didn't want to share it with other people as you were writing with it.
Yeah, and also because I really needed to feel legitimate to do everything on set and to do my movie, because it's very hard, you know, to be trusted. Actually, you need people to trust you to be able to make a film. And when I realized that I would have the opportunity to direct and play and write my own movie, um, I just wanted to be sure that I was the only one to do it, and that it would be like an object that really looks like me. And
Mm.
it was my gesture. And I think that the fact that I didn't talk about it with other people was something that showed me that I was the only one to do it, and that it belonged to me and not to anyone else. And I think this is also why I kept it very secret, because and also because I was very very insecure, and I'm very superstitious, and I didn't want to say a word about it. And I was praying, and I was praying, and I was deciding about things like, okay, please, if I can do the movie, then I will not do anything else. I was, I was just, I was deciding things in my life. I was making my decisions like this because I was superstitious, and I needed something to reassure myself and to know that if I was doing the right thing, then I will be able to make my films.
You guarded it so like fiercely. I love it. you said when you were writing it there was some big changes that you made to it. Would you mind, or can you remember some of the changes that you made to the script?
Yeah, but actually, it didn't change really. It was, I remember that in the first version, the dance sequences were not very here. Well, sometimes they were written, but very, it was just an idea that I had, but it wasn't described or anything. And in the second version, the huge change was that I think in every version, the dance sequence at the cafe with the headphones and when they dance together, it has always been here. But after, when I started to write again and to think about how the relationship can be more powerful and also platonic, but also really, sensual and strong,
Mm.
I decided to write some other sequences with dance because it was a way I found to express really how the love can grow between the two of them. And I think this was the biggest change in the script, and I think that was all. But I still have my notebook because I wasn't writing the movie on my computer. I was writing it in my notebook, and I still have it. And on it there are like some math exercises and stuff. And when I read it, I can see that there were scenes that I deleted very soon in the process, in the writing process. So the script that I had and that I made, that I imagined, and with which I started to imagine the film, it changed only one time, and it was for the for adding these dance sequences.
Okay, amazing. You said you said that you sort of wrote it as a diary, but a diary of someone else. How would you describe Suzanne in the film, or the person whose diary you were writing?
I know that when I started to write it, there was a sentence that I kept thinking about. It's the story of a 16-year-old girl who's bored with people her age. And I don't know why, but the fact that she's bored with people her own age, um, it was like my starting point, and it was the very first idea that I had to imagine Suzanne's character. So I really wanted to show that she's not, well, she's very nice. She's shy, but not too shy. She's also very alive, but she's alive when she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And when she wants to be like in her thoughts, and when she wants to be in her world, she can be too. And it was very important for me to show these two aspects of the character because when you're adolescent, I remember that as a teenager, sometimes I was too much. I was too happy. I was too sad. I was too loud and everything. But everything was too much. And I think it really, linked to the fact that you're building yourself. So your joy are extremely powerful. Your sorrows are extremely powerful too, but actually the main topic of your joy or your sorrow is just not interesting. So and but it's your very first emotions, and I think it's the very it's so beautiful to discover these emotions. And I wanted to show how expressive but also very shy and weird teenagers can be sometimes. So I think my character is a very huge mix of everything. And I also wanted her to be funny because I think it's very important. And I wanted her to be, I don't know how to say maladroite, but
My French
um
is terrible, so I won't even try.
I don't know. I wanted her to, um uh, I wanted her not to be good at things like to broke things, or sometimes to let things drop, or to do things weird, and not being totally at ease with in society.
Yeah.
And I think it was something very important for me to show it because at that age you don't know what to do with your body, but also you discover yourself. And I think that the fact that she's dancing and the fact that she's wearing a skirt when her dad says that the skirt is beautiful and that man likes girl with skirts and thing, it was something that I that for me was a resume of what teenage years can be. So
That's lovely. Cousin have just said it means to be kind of inept. then you're not quite sure what you're doing. I wanted to, because I think something else that struck me about Suzanne in the film is she is sure of herself in some ways. And there was a line of dialogue I really liked at the party where the girl with her, she asks her to rate everyone, and Suzanne, she says, if I could, I would rate everybody a 5. And I just wanted to know, for that little bit of dialogue, what were you thinking when you wrote that?
Oh yeah. I think that this scene was one of the first scene that I wrote, and this precise line was the first line that I really liked. Like, I was proud of it because I remember that, sometimes it was something. Well, when I talk to myself, because sometimes I talk to myself. Well, I don't know, but
Yeah.
when I try things, sometimes I'm in my room and I try things, and I always um, notice that I always rate things, and I only understand what I like and what I dislike by rating things. So, you know, I remember that the first time I fell in love, we were on a date with the boy I really loved. And when I came back home, I wrote on my notebook, this date was a 10. I was so and I was actually, I think I was 13 when I started to write things like that. And I remember that. And I wanted to have something like that in the film, but I needed to find where. And I really wanted to show also the difference between Suzanne and her friends, and the fact that this is a friend of mine who's asking the question, okay, so how do you think, well, do you think the boys are cute or something like that? And when I say, oh, I would give them a 5, it's like, I don't care, because 5 is nothing, it's not good or not bad, it's just, I would give them a 5. But we can also imagine that after, when she meets Raphaël, she gives him a 10 or an 11. So,
Fantastic. Oh, I love that's one of the first. It just sends such a clear message about who she is. I think it's wonderful. I've asked you this before, but I love your answer to this. Could you please tell me what your first day on set was like? What that experience was like for you?
Yeah. Actually, the first day on set for me was really, really special, because it was like if it were the first day of my life, because it was I had the feeling that I was born a second time, because it was very weird, even though, if of course I was aware of what making a film was and everything. I didn't realize until then that I was, responsible of the entire story, of the entire team, and of the entire result of the film that I was making. And I was with Frédéric Pierrot, who plays my dad in the film, and he became my guardian angel, because he was so nice to me. And I didn't want him to reassure me, because I was the director, so I needed to be very strong and powerful and brave for the first time. But I knew that he was so nice to me, and the way he had to look at me was so kind, that it gave me power and trust and confidence. And I remember that before shooting, I wanted to make a speech and to talk to the team, to thank them and everything. And I needed to cry. I wanted to cry because I was too moved, and I always cry. And here it was like, I wanted to be strong, and I wanted to show them that I was capable of doing it, and that I wasn't like a little girl who's crying. So I didn't want to cry. And I remember that someone told me, okay, you can look to the sky, look up, and you will not cry. It will stop everything. And so I was thanking them, but I was thanking the sky. So everybody thought that I was thanking God or something. And I was like, thank you. And my hands were like, thank you very much for being here, thank you for allowing me to do. And everyone thought that I was very, very weird. And but I explained them after, and it was a great memory, actually.
I love that. It's just such a special day. It sounds so wonderful. So we have some audience questions. We have Jen from Peckham, which is in South London. Why did you name your character Suzanne? Is there something autobiographical in the film for you?
Yes, well, actually, it was very important for me to keep my name. Um, for many reasons. First, because when I was little, I didn't like my name, and I started to like it when I became a teenager. So I wanted to keep this in the film to show that this was also the moment where I changed my vision of who I was, I think. And I started to accept who I was and who I was becoming. And also because of course there's something very autobiographical in the film, because it was inspired by me, by my life, by my age, also by my fantasies, because I was more interested in my fantasies than in my real life. So the love story that she's living in the movie would have been the love story that I would have loved to to leave. And Raphael's character was also inspired. Well, it's very very different, but it was inspired by a lot of different people, and it became the character. And also because in two of my favorite movies, one is À nos amours by Maurice Pialat, and the other is L'Effronté by Claude Miller with young Charlotte Gainsbourg. And in L'Effronté, Charlotte Gainsbourg's name is Charlotte, so it's the same. And in À nos amours, Sandrine Bonner's name is Suzanne. So I just, I took both and I said, okay, my name is Suzanne, so it's going to be the same as in À nos amours.
Yeah.
And I will keep it just like Charlotte Gainsbourg did in L'Effronté.
That's amazing. I love the thought that's gone into that. Simone from London, congratulations on the film. What films or filmmakers were, well, I guess we've just touched on this a little bit, but what films or filmmakers were influences with Spring Blossom? I thought of Nos Amours while watching it.
Well. I think I've been very inspired by a lot of movies that I really love without even noticing that I was inspired by them. Because when I was writing, I didn't think about a movie in particular or something like that. I think that I've been raised I've been raised with a family that wanted me to watch movie every day. So it was a part of me. And when I was writing, I think that unconsciously, some things were here with me from movies that I've always loved. But I know that to build the family bones in my film, I've been very inspired by a movie that I really adore, which is Running on Empty by Sidney Lumet, with River Phoenix and Martha Plimpton. And it's about a young man who's falling in love, but who's torn between staying with his family or staying with his girlfriend. And the way they accept each other in the film, and the way they are kind and respectful to each other in the family in the film, really inspired me to write about the family links I wanted to have in my movie. But also, of course, L'Effronté, À nos amours, and Eric Romer's movie, like The Summer Tale or stuff like that, it was something that I've seen these movies a little later in my life, but it was something very simple. The story was very simple. The dialogues were, well, huge, but very simple too. And I think that there's a form of modesty in these movies, like in Le Rayon Vert by Eric Romer. There's something about, it's the story of a young girl who's going on holidays alone because her friends are not coming with her, and she's discovering herself thanks to that. And I think that I've been really inspired by the fact that it's like a journey to discover who you are. And I think that these kinds of movies really inspired me to write mine.
Fantastic. Thank you for that answer. I was wondering what conversations you had with your cinematographer before you started the film, because it just emits a real joy, I think. And I'd love to know what those conversations were.
Well, it was so great. Actually, the DOP, I don't know if it's like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
His name is Jérémy Attard, and he's very, very young, and he's so talented that the story is crazy because I was in the subway
Yeah.
and I thought the poster of a movie, and I thought, oh my God, I really love the poster. I love the light on the poster. I love everything. I would like something like that, like a little different, but something like that. And I called the producer of the movie and I said, "Okay, do you know this movie? Who's the cinematographer of this movie?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know. We'll ask." And she asked, and she said, "Jérémy Attard." And I was at that moment with a girl who was working with me on the movie to prepare the film, and she said, "This girl, oh, I know him. He's so nice. We can call him right now."
Oh my
I
gosh.
said, okay. And she called him. We sent him the script. He really liked it. He called me too. And we met like 2 days after. And I became crazy about him. I really loved him. He's the nicest person on earth. And I don't think I could make a movie without him. He's my team. Like he's the best. He became my friend. And now, I just want to write another story to work with him again. So and I remember that he was the best listener because it was my first movie. But when I was talking about how I wanted to film things, I was very precise, and he was very great because every pieces of advice that he gave me were so interesting and so important to me. And I think that, when I was hesitating on stuff, the only opinion that really mattered to me, well, not the only, but one of the most important opinion for me was his opinion. And this is because we talked a lot together before shooting. He knew exactly what I wanted, like not moving when we're dancing at the cafe, but moving when I am dancing alone. Um, you know, I wanted to feel every skin, everything that could make the movie to appear very organic, but also something weird in the light that could make the movie appears like dreamy, to
Mhm.
hesitate between the very organic and realistic story and a a weird dream dimension that we can find sometimes when they're dancing or something. And he understood me so well that after we didn't need to talk. So
I love that. That seems so much like fate. Like
yeah,
it's
and
almost,
he was also because he understood me very well on set. It was so great to have his opinion, because I was playing in the film. Sometimes after one take, I was going to see him and I said, "Oh, did you like it? Was I okay?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah," or "Oh, maybe you can do this a little more like that." And I was trusting him so much that I was listening to him, and he was really like a very, very strong personality in the team, and it was a gift to be able to work with him.
oh, that's wonderful. I'm so happy that you found each other. And I hope you get to work together again. I have so many more questions for you, but that is our time. So thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. And I want to thank our guest tonight so much, Suzanne Lindon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. I was really, really happy to talk with you, and sorry for my English because sometimes I'm not very good, but
Oh my goodness, you're fine. My French is 10 million times worse, so I appreciate you trying.
but
So
thank you very, very, very much. It was a great, great time talking to you, really.
fantastic. Oh, thank you. Well, Spring Blossom is available to stream now on Curzon Home Cinema, and if you enjoyed this film, please do tell your friends about it. You can follow Curzon Cinemas on Twitter and Facebook for updates on the upcoming living room events. I've been your host, Beth Webb, and thank you so much and good night.